Citizens of the digital age, welcome to our third Watchdog review. This time we visit Watchdogs 2. If you haven't yet, I urge you to watch the previous reviews. It helps out DedSec greatly. I'll be reviewing the whole series over the next few weeks, so I hope you enjoy these reviews. In today's in-depth spoiler-free review, we'll dive into the world of a hacktivist that bring truth and justice to the people in order to answer the question, should you play Watchdogs 2 in 2025? Give you the truth. Do with that what you will.
Watch Dogs 2 takes a different approach entirely from the first game. Gone is that personal and gritty dark story of the first game, instead replaced by a witty yet simple story with a fun cast of characters, a lighter tone, but an extremely important message. This time around we play as Marcus Holloway, a young man who has been let down and framed by a system that fails to do as promised. Each mission has us exposing corporate corruption, crime networks, fellow hacker groups, and how it all ties into one big system. A system made by the untouchable to exploit the public for profit, no matter the cost. Most main missions fall into a rinse and repeat gameplay loop. Infiltrate a location, grab data or plant data, and get out. Some missions do break this loop, and those were highlights, but most missions do unfortunately blend together and do not feel too unique. Though level design wise, every main mission is amazingly thought out. You'll need to actually stay stealthy and strategize, but even so, most missions story-wise don't stick out and feel bland. But the main cast does make up for this, with their witty but sometimes awkward and cringy humour. I love Marcus's dynamic with all of DedSec. Marcus brings them all together. When everyone is at their worst, he remains the brightest. He may be the newest member, but he manages to push them past their limits and become even greater. Wrench is a loudmouthed and witty member of DedSec and a core part of their operations, but other than that, he's a great friend to Marcus, with the two often bonding over their love for pop culture, making for some hilarious moments between the two. They bounce off of each other's personality perfectly. Zatara is the leader of DedSec SF. She's an artist who created this version of DedSec in her image. Her and Marcus are very fond of each other, cracking jokes and often showing how much they appreciate each other. It's heartwarming. Then we have Josh. At first he seems a little cautious and standoffish, but once we get to know him, he quickly became my favourite, with his awkward nature and his innocence and a great representation of autism. And finally, Horatio. Well, would say more here, but they really fucked up his character. He's hardly present and only really gets a small fraction of screen time. There's only one mission that explores his character, but other than that, he's just in the background, which is highly unfortunate, especially because the guy has personality. It's a shame, really. The main cast is what makes the story of Watch Dogs 2 so entertaining. It's not as deep or personal as the original, but instead relies on the cast to bring the story together and make you feel connected to them. The story itself is fine, it's not anything special, but because of the cast dynamic, it becomes something more. Sure, there are motivations during the story to drive you forward and fight for what you believe in, but if you are expecting a deep narrative, it's not here, and that's fine because the overall message is realistic, a message that is important today as it is becoming reality. Your digital presence will never be private. You're a stepping stone for corpos. You are profit. Everything you do is tracked, and it will only become worse and worse and worse as we evolve and come closer to the peak of civilization. Our privacy and freedom is at threat. DedSec is against this system. They want to break the cycle and offer the people a choice. Be a zombie, do nothing but stand by, or contribute in some way and protect your rights. Before we move on, I also believe the main villain is very well written and acts exactly like a corporate scumbag would act like. Someone who's above the law and takes advantage of their position to further benefit themselves whilst walking over innocent people just to get what they want. It's not just about profit, it's about pride. And that's just about it. For the main story, I think the level design has greatly improved, but it's a little disappointing by the time it was finished and all wrapped up. I was thinking, is that it? By now, we're already familiar with the mechanics of Watch Dogs, so instead of recapping info, let's go over what's been removed, what's improved, and our new additions. Firstly, bridge hacks are gone entirely, as they wouldn't fit the city infrastructure, with most bridges being far too large. The focus ability has been removed and replaced by a scan ability that surveys the area, for hackable objects, enemies, and items of interest. Most side missions and activities are gone, but are used elsewhere in specific missions or other activities. But perhaps the worst and most disappointing change of them all is the removal of those super cool cinematic destruction camera angles, such a shame, a goddamn shame. There are a few other removals too, but they are far less noticeable. As for the improvements, hacking has been streamlined into one simple UI. You hold down a prompt and are given 4 options using 4 different buttons. Depending on the object or NPC you are hacking, these options may vary. For example, if you're hacking an explosive, there are 4 options. The top one is to shut it down, the right one is to retract enemies, the bottom is to explode it, and the left one is to set it to explode via enemy proximity. This allows for many new options for stealth, or just quality of life improvements that makes hacking feel smoother and seamless. Driving is now actually great, it feels much more smooth and less janky. It's not perfect, but cars aren't built like tanks anymore and they work the way they should, with a variety of vehicles that have their own usage and are now purchasable. Another thing to add is you can now hack vehicles to make them move in whatever direction you wish. Clothing shops now have variety, each shop feels unique and offers their own clothing items that stand out, allowing for some in-depth outfit customization, a refreshing take compared to Aiden's teamy wardrobe selection. The parkour system has been completely revamped and now feels buttery smooth. You can vault over just about anything, full damage feels realistic, and movement is efficient and looks visually pleasing. You can pull off a variety of different moves, and it feels like you're playing Assassin's Creed. It is that good. Not as in-depth, but still fun as hell. Gadgets have changed entirely. Some have completely been removed, however now instead of crafting gadgets they all have recharge cooldowns and carry limits. There's also some new additions like the mass comms distributors, which will give every nearby enemy a migraine, and mass vehicle hacks, which will cause every single vehicle nearby to lose control. Hacking puzzles have made the full shift to 3D play and environmental puzzles, and wow were they amazing here, truly fun, challenging, and they take advantage of their surroundings. Your inventory is now much more limited. Your standard weapon is the stun gun, and you also have 2 additional weapon slots. You can craft weapons at your base using a 3D printer, or you can borrow them from unconscious people. You also have your RC car, which has been greatly improved. Now equipped with the jump ability, better traversal that makes it so you can actually move up slight curbs and stairs, but is also not overpowered like before. You aren't equipped with a stun ability, and enemies can spot you much easier. We also have the drone, which is similar in nature, but is much more restrictive, not allowing you to pick up items or interact with much, but it is useful in other ways. I'll speak about this more later. But the greatest new addition, you can now pet dogs in Watch Dogs. Game of the Decade. There are many other changes and new additions that we'll touch on in other topics, starting with the stealth system has been greatly improved and is now the main core focus of the gameplay, with new hacking abilities and even more in-depth level design that focuses more on strategy. Some missions will be designed specifically around a certain ability or will be easier with specific equipment. So each mission or location feels different upon infiltration, even if the core goal remains mostly the same. Get in, don't get detected, locate something, upload data, and get out. Your tools can be used in various ways, whether you want to complete a mission without even entering enemy territory using cameras, your RC car, and your drone, or if you wish to take a more hands-on approach, guns blazing, or stick to stealth using the environment to your advantage. There are a ton of options in every single quest and location. Stealth is key here. You could go in guns blazing, but will likely fail. Instead, plan, strategize, and use your skills to your advantage to create distractions, cause mayhem, or to get unscathed and on top. But there are drawbacks for staying cautious and playing it safe. If you knock an enemy down or stun them without lethal force, they will wake up again after a period of time. So if you want to play it safe, just remember it isn't always going to work out. Have fun with it, try new things, use new abilities, find new ways to play the game. You could even call the police or have criminals target your enemies and use the gunfire or conflict to your advantage to get in without being spotted. Get creative, use the environment, your skills, and everything you have. There's no end to what you could do here, with infinite possibilities and endless fun. You have complete freedom, and that's exactly what makes Watch Dogs 2 so great. It expands on what made the first game so good, and uses those ideas to make the most fun and in-depth stealth system we'll likely ever see in a game like this again. Side activities make a return, and there's even more content than before, so let's not waste any time. Starting with side quests, yes, actual side quests, not contract quests, with actual stories. Some side quests will use the mechanics from investigations or contracts of the first game. However, each side quest has its own take on these mechanics. some are short and only take a minute, and others will be quite long with various objectives. My favourites will be Bottom Dollar, a quest that has us hijacking various ATMs and pranking civilians. A bit ironic considering our goals as DedSec, but is still a funny and simple questline. $911 is a questline that has us taking down corrupt police officers by planning routes and ambushing them and collecting evidence. You'll need to expose the various crimes of these corrupt cops, and I really like this questline, especially mechanically. Then there's Ubistolen, which will have you infiltrate the Ubisoft San Francisco headquarters, the developers of the game, where you'll need to find and leak a trailer for their next game, which is so cool and such a fun little detail. And there's many others that stick out with their own mechanics and stories to tell. I found them all to be pretty enjoyable, despite their repetitive nature. But what about the other side activities? Time trials are similar to driving contracts, but they refresh daily, and the goal is to beat another player's record. Pretty fun, nothing special, but good content. Next are races, ranging from drone races, motorcycles, sailboats, and e-kart races. Drone races are a highlight, with closed-in environments making it a challenge to navigate whilst moving through objectives. However, these are super cool, but somewhat janky. Sailboat races are incredible. They use realistic mechanics like wind currents, and they feel accurate in terms of movement and speed. Made for some great fun and some challenge, by far my favourite. Motorcycle and car races are basically the same as the first game, but with obviously new locations and better traversal. Still slightly janky, but a massive improvement. Then we have e-kart races, which are tied to a side quest line. It's go-karting, super fun, and fits in perfectly. I enjoyed these quite a lot. Driver SF is like Uber, but with fun objectives. You step into this job yourself and experience all walks of life. As you take on jobs, you learn more about your passengers. I really like these. It was fun getting to know these NPCs and just seeing them interact with Marcus. Just a fun game mode that fits in the world of Watch Dogs perfectly. Each passenger has their own story to tell. Take Liz for example. If she's your passenger, you have to partake in stunts for her YouTube channel. Some SF jobs require you to be speedy, and some slow. Each one is unique and was a blast to experience. Investigations are gone, but are replaced by an arguably better system. This time around, the map is absolutely filled to the brim with these points of interest that have items scattered all around. These consist of money bags, paint jobs, cosmetics, research points, intel points, and key data. Research points and key data go hand in hand. These points will give you skill points towards the skill tree. You can gain these through leveling up, or you can find them in various locations. Key data on the other hand is required for specific skills. You can also find these around the map. Money bags, paint jobs, and cosmetics, as well as the occasional vehicle, will be marked on the map as you explore or use the scan ability. These are basically just locations to pick up cash or cosmetics, pretty self-explanatory. Intel will give you information that will unlock more side quests, and all of these points work together. Each of them are in close proximity, and there are hundreds of them. Some are simple to find and pick up, and others require thinking and exploring. I love these so much, truly a highlight of my playtime. Cash points are often in enemy bases, so it gives a bit of value to infiltrating these locations with either stealth or pure chaos. And there's just so much of a connect between them. You can be on a side quest and you can pick up a bunch of items on the way. There's just so much to do. The city is not only a hub, it's also your canvas for your creativity. These collectibles drive you to explore every single corner of San Francisco, and the whole map is built around these pickups. Everything, every single detail, every structure, vehicle, NPC, and quest can be used at your will. Want to grab an item? Can't see a way up? Force your way through in various ways. Be creative. You can even use the city infrastructure to your advantage. Solve a nearby puzzle to open up new paths. Use nearby cranes, lifts, or even using vehicles to get seemingly unreachable places. San Francisco isn't just where the game is set. It's a sandbox where every little detail works together like a puzzle piece in a collection. It snaps all together, but each piece is tailored towards your playstyle. The world is a puzzle. The world is a canvas, and there are infinite possibilities. File 4. Art, details, and music. San Francisco isn't just a sandbox, it's also visually beautiful and graphically impressive. Though I miss the dark and gritty look of Chicago, they have captured the look of San Francisco here perfectly, an accepting place where creativity and expression lives freely, a diverse and beautiful city, rich with culture and stunning views, with some very faithful recreations of real-life landmarks, like the Golden Gate Bridge, Lombard Street, and Yerba Buena Island, along with the famous Bay Bridge that connects San Fran to Oakland. It's the perfect setting for a Watch Dogs game, a city known for its tech, landmarks, and culture, so it makes sense here. I have to say they really nailed the vibe. The weather, the buildings, the bright and colourful look and scale. I'm not a fan of oversaturation in games, but somehow they've managed to capture the vibes of San Francisco without making it feel too overbearing, bright and colourful. It's the perfect amount of contrast, and I can't lie, I really love it. I honestly grew to like it just as much as Chicago in some ways. I also love the diversity of animal life. You can encounter things like sea lions, all types of dog breeds, and even birds. It was truly a mesmerizing experience that honestly made me want to visit San Francisco. This game is truly stunning and there's a lot to see. And wow, using camera mode really makes things pop and look real from a glance, which is highly graphically impressive. You can see every detail and every single structure. Which leads me to our next topic. Here we are, our designated detail section. No messing around this time, let's get right into it. If you park a car underneath a tree, over time you'll see leaves falling off the tree onto the roof of your car, and they will stay there. Dogs will stick around and mourn the loss of their owners if they pass away. Dogs will also react to your RC car, often chasing it. You will even see dogs playing with each other. If you don't own the explosive skill for the RC car, you can get the same effect by taking out the car, throwing C4 on it, and there you go. No skill needed, you've made it yourself. After it rains, puddles will dry up over time, which I'll show you right now. The world of Watch Dogs 2 is truly alive. It's impressive how they could improve so much from the first game without compromising too much. Sure, some things have been changed, removed, or replaced, but there's so many impressive details here, and there's many more details I could yap about for hours, but that would take up too much time, so instead I'll leave a link in the description to some Watch Dogs 2 detail analysis videos. The soundtrack in Watch Dogs 2 is a massive improvement. The original tracks, as always, are great, better than in the first game, however with less tracks overall. The licensed music is brilliant, with some real bangers and classics included. The radio now has multiple stations, with hosts, adverts, and news broadcasts, which was a big complaint in my first review, with Watch Dogs 1 having a boring radio with zero personality, despite the soundtrack also being amazing and fitting the game. However, I'm not a fan of the radio controls. It's hard to navigate while switching stations at the same time, which leads me to my main complaints. As with most brilliant games, there's always a few drawbacks, so let's quickly go over my main complaints. On PlayStation consoles, capturing footage will add licensed watermarks to your gameplay for specific games, and if you're like me and your capture card ceased to exist in 2023, you have to use the built-in PS capture system. And what is hiding behind this corner box? Well, I'll show you what I mean now. I experienced many bugs during my playthrough, ranging from texture bugs, input bugs, NPCs glitching the fuck out, falling through the map, and many more issues. Nothing particularly game breaking, however, in terms of halting progression. City games and AR games aren't in this game, which is unfortunate. I felt like city games would have really been amazing for San Francisco as a glimpse into a city famous for its culture, and AR games would fit the goofy setting. And I can't say much here, but I also think their treatment of certain character deaths felt extremely disconnected and unimportant, as if they were tossed to the side and forgotten instantly by the main cast and not mentioned ever again after those specific events. I've already given out most of my other complaints throughout the other topics. There is another very big issue I have, but I'll leave that until my Watch Dogs 2 DLC review, as it's much more relevant there. If you have any complaints of your own, as always leave them in the comments, but keep it spoiler free for other people. Here we are yet again, the final verdict. Watch Dogs 2 is an exceptionally impressive game, with evolved mechanics and activities that build off of what was established originally. It has many new additions that spice up the gameplay and make it feel like a pure sandbox of endless fun. But it did sacrifice what made it so charming in the first place. I understand people have their gripes with the first game, but to me, the story here is just a huge downgrade, and the removal of certain mechanics just kind of sucks. So, I'll be giving Watch Dogs 2 a 92% on the revs meter. Compared to the first game, I prefer the gameplay way more, but I do prefer the vibe and storytelling of the first game. However, this game feels so much more complete despite its flaws. It's clearly an improvement, and I'd be a fool to deny that. I absolutely loved every second of it, so I think this rating is well deserved. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, it really helps. If you have any feedback or criticism, let me know in the comments. I appreciate any feedback, and I will listen to your complaints. Next up, I'll be reviewing the DLC for Watch Dogs 2. Thank you for watching.
And remember, we have given you the truth. do what you will.